You didn't pick the best option. You picked the known option. And the worst part is that you felt completely rational doing it because your brain had secretly already made the decision before your logic even entered the room. You can see it is similar to our last bias number 25. So this is called the familiarity bias. It's a bias number 25 in our 225 plus bias series. That's bias number 26, sorry, in our 225 plus bias series. My name is Kali Cussons, Africa's premium high performance thinking and strategic execution coach. Now, familiarity bias is a tendency to favor what is known, what is comfortable, and previously encountered over what is new, over what is unfamiliar or untested, even when the unfamiliar option is objectively superior, more profitable, or more aligned with your actual goals. Now, you may be thinking, didn't we just cover this with the mere exposure effect? Very powerful observation. Here is the critical distinction. The mere exposure effect is about how repeated exposure creates liking. It explains the psychological mechanism, the process by which familiarity is built. Now, but familiarity bias is about how existing familiarity drives decision, particularly in high stakes choices involving risks, change, and the unknown. It is the active decision stage expression of a preference that the mere exposure effect helped to create. One builds the preference, the other acts on it, often at enormous cost. So familiarity bias is the reason people stay in careers that have stopped growing. Many years ago, maybe about 7 years ago, in fact, not just 7 years ago, about, many years ago, from about 2010, I was completely not happy with being a lecturer at the university. I wanted to face my business school, my speaking engagement. But you see, I needed to stay and stay because anybody you mention it to will say, do you want to kill yourself? How are you going out to an uncertain terrain? Yeah. So people stay in careers they've stopped growing in, stopped liking. People stay in relationships that have stopped thriving, stay in markets that have stopped expanding, stay in strategies that have stopped working. They're not staying because they evaluated the options and chose the familiar. Yes, they're staying because the familiar was the only option their brain presented as safe. Guy, a bed at hand is worth more than 1,000 in the bush. In business, you can see it everywhere. So a business owner has banked with the same commercial bank for 11 years. The service has deteriorated. The charges have multiplied. Two fintech platforms offer significantly better terms, lower fees, faster transaction, superior digital infrastructure, and dedicated business support. His accountant has presented the comparison, for him. He has said it 3 times. Can we move? The numbers are unambiguous. The superior option is clear, so it's not arguable. But every time the decision moment arrives, he hesitates. I know how this bank works. I know the branch manager. I know what to expect. I don't want to go into something I can't control. And he stays. Not because the bank is better, but because it is known to him. He's familiar with that. Think about it. Check around it. Yeah, he's playing a familiar. He's playing a familiar terrain. Yeah, he's paying a familiarity tax. He's paying it in excess charges, loss efficiency, opportunity cost. Every single month he repeats, and he's calling that tax loyalty. I'm loyal to this bank. This plays out in hiring too. A business owner repeatedly promotes from within, not always because the internal candidate is the strongest, but because they are familiar. The external candidate, potentially transformational, feels risky simply because I don't know them. I don't know what they're coming from, their baggages and all those. They are unknown to me. Yeah, familiarity bias doesn't just limit your tools and your team, it limits your entire ceiling. Because your ceiling is built from the bricks of what you already know. The same in relationship. A woman ends a difficult relationship. She knows it was unhealthy. He's not the ex. She knows she deserves better. She has done the work, the journaling, the therapy, the conversation with trusted friends. Then loneliness arrives. And with it, the familiar pull, the chatting, and everything. The ex is come, I'm sorry, this one. She doesn't go back because the relationship was good. She goes back because it is known. The arguments are familiar. The patterns are predictable. She doesn't want to go from frying pan to fire. Even the pen is comfortable because it is a pen her nervous system has learned to navigate. The unknown, a new relationship, a new dynamic, a new version of herself in connection with someone healthier, someone less narcissistic, someone who loves her better. These feel more threatening than the familiar dysfunction she is returning to. Familiarity bias makes the wrong choice feel like safe choice. And in relationships, that confusion costs people years of their one irreplaceable life, a life you can't replace. We're always interested in the fix. What are the fixes? Three moves. Powerful, practical, and life-changing moves you can make right now. Number one, separate familiarity from suitability in every major decision. Before renewing any contract, continuing any relationship, returning any strategy, or staying in any situation, yeah? Ask one important question and ask it ruthlessly. Ask it honestly to yourself. Am I choosing this because it is generally the best option available to me, or simply because it is the most known, the most familiar to me? If you cannot immediately answer with evidence, you are likely operating under the familiarity bias. Force a genuine comparison. Put the familiar option and the unfamiliar option side by side on paper, stripped of emotional history, and evaluate them on merit alone. Number two, rather deliberately budget for the unfamiliar in your business. Allocate a specific percentage of your time, your learning budget, and your strategic experimentation towards things you have never tried before. Always ask yourself, when was the last time I did something for the first time? Check new markets, new platforms, new IT tools, new partnerships, new methodologies, new strategies. Familiarity bias shrinks your world incrementally. A little less exploration each year, a little more comfort, a little more stagnation until one day you look up and realize your business is living entirely inside the boundaries of what you already knew 10 years ago. Newness is not a luxury. Newness is oxygen. I was discussing with a friend yesterday, and he said his problem now a prosy problem, that he has solved all his problem. It is all about people's problem now. And I saw we talked about growth and growth, and he never said any new thing he was doing. He never talked about any new thing he wanted to do. Why he's a younger person, but he seems to have plateaued because he's comfortable with what he's doing. He's a trader, and I think he doesn't want to over expand. He's just like, I don't want trouble. Yeah. Some of his, transport vehicles and logistic vehicles, cause him some headache and some problems. And he feels, let me just remain the way I am. That is familiarity bias. Number three, reframe the unfamiliar from threatening to promising. The core fuel of familiarity bias is the brain's equation of unfamiliar with unsafe, unfamiliar with risk. Interrupt that equation deliberately. When you encounter an unfamiliar, option, a new business model, a new type of relationship, a new type of, dynamic. Yeah. Now, what do you need to do? What is a new market, a new strategy? Train yourself to ask a simple question. What is the best possible outcome if this works? And what is the best possible outcome if it doesn't? Before your brain asks what could go wrong, ask this question first. Lead with possibility. Let due diligence follow, but never let the discomfort of unfamiliarity be the deciding vote in a decision that deserves to be made on merit. It can only keep you down. Now, here's what familiarity bias is quietly doing to your life right now. And I need you to hear this clearly. Every comfort zone, now I repeat, every comfort zone is just a familiarity bias that has been lived in long enough to feel like home. Now I'll repeat that because it's very important. Every comfort zone you find yourself in is just a familiarity bias that has been lived in long enough to feel like home, to feel very comfortable, to feel like a solution, to feel like peace of mind. The strategy you keep returning to, that strategy you are returning to it not because it still works, but because you know it, you are familiar with it. That partner you keep tolerating, not because they are right for you, but because they are known, you are familiar. That market you keep serving, not because it is your best opportunity, but because it is familiar territory. You don't want to raise your price. The price you keep charging, not because it reflects your value, but because it is a number you are comfortable saying out loud. Any other number you want to say, you cringe, you paralyze. None of these are wisdom. They are familiarity wearing the mask of wisdom. So the most dangerous place you can live in business and in life and in relationship is inside a comfort zone that has stopped growing. Why? Because a comfort zone that is not expanding is not protecting you. It is shrinking you, because along with it shrinking, you shrink. You cannot grow bigger than your comfort zone. So step toward the unfamiliar, evaluate the known, and then evaluate the unknown. Now, evaluate the unknown on its merit. Evaluate the known on its merit. Give the new option a fair hearing before your familiarity reflex, dismisses it. Because everything you want, everything your business needs, everything your relationships are waiting for is sitting just beyond the age of what you already know. Go there, because almost everything you are looking for is at the other side of fear. My dear friend, this is bias 26. The familiar is comfortable. The unfamiliar is where your growth lies. Share this with every entrepreneur and leader who has been paying the familiarity tax for too long. Now, the question, when was the last time you fed the mind that makes the money? Click the link below and join my masterclasses and my webinars. See you tomorrow.